Hey, this is Bo down in Fort Myers, Florida, and for some strange reason, I love listening to Making Fun of MacGyver.
Tonight, a head injury makes MacGyver forget about a plot to bomb a funeral. Will he regain his memory in time? And hey, is there a chance Sam, Mike, or Jeff might also suffer head injuries and forget to record tonight's show? Fingers crossed. Find out next on Making Fun of MacGyver. It's Making Fun of MacGyver, a rib-tickling takedown of our favorite 80s adventure show, Simon and Simon. No, it's MacGyver. Starring Sam Jordan as the skeptic, Mike Garland as the diehard, and Jeff Hess as the scientist.
Name's MacGyver.
Welcome, everybody, to Making Fun of MacGyver, the show where we recap, review, and lovingly ridicule every episode of the original series, MacGyver. And I'm Sam Jordan, your host. As usual, I'm joined by my two fellow MacGyverites, the RV guy, Mike Garland.
I prefer camping in an RV over pitching a tent in my pants.
And the boat boy of the bunch, Jeff Hess.
Ooh, do I get to wear a cute little sailor outfit? I look really cute in a sailor outfit. I do a lot of squats.
Does that MacGyver?
Yeah.
Putting that on YouTube. Okay.
That's how you get a nice butt.
My surprisingly sinewy and sensuous stud muffins, I must ask you this important question. Are you ready to see more great clips, but not as many great clips as if you were to either watch Friends or go to a Great Clips?
Or supercuts.
I don't even know that these were great clips.
Or supercuts.
Right. Okay, I should have called them supercuts.
Yeah.
Well, good. Because we're moments away from Making Fun of MacGyver. It is our 55th episode, and tonight we're talking about MacGyver Season 2, Episode 21, DOA MacGyver. But first, it's our opening gambit. All right. It's not too often we bring you breaking Hollywood Walk of Fame news, but we've got someone who just got their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. At least I think it's the Hollywood Walk of Fame, I hope. And he's got some MacGyver backstory. And who's got this story for us, by the way? Who's covering this? Is it Jeff? Is it Mike?
Oh, I only have the details.
It's Jeff from the 24-hour MacGyver News Center.
No.
Oh, wait. Is there a script?
No, you can do it from right here. You don't need to run down there, Jeff. This is not Shavar Ross.
Okay, all I have is Asian Walk of Fame facts. The people who are on the Asian people are on the Walk of Fame.
Are you serious? Okay,
Yeah.
well, Mike, someone actually tell us what we're talking about here.
So James Hong, who was the elder Asian fellow, or he was like he wanted the boy in Wish Child. And he has been in so many things. We talked about his career when we reviewed Wish Child. James Hong, 90-something years old, still very, very active in Hollywood circles, 93 to be exact, has just received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
And I find it incredibly hard to believe that after all of these years, no, decades, that he finally has earned that star when it has otherwise gone to many a schlep that have been flashes in the pan in the Hollywood eyes.
Remember the stats? We didn't pull them up here, but the stats on James Hong, like his first role was maybe like the 40s or something like that, and he's been in like 600 movies. Amazing.
Yeah, just an unbelievable list of properties that he's been in. You recognize his voice immediately if you hear it. And it's funny because he's in the episode with Toniiight, who is also a very recognizable voice. And so when he went in, they say he's the 19th Asian American or Asian descent person on the Walk of Fame. So seems a little surprising, right? I was trying to find a list. This is a couple years out of date. So this is from summer of 2016. But take a guess at who some of the people on the Hollywood Walk of Fame are, and then I'll tell you if they're on there or not.
Is Lucy Liu on there?
Lucy Liu is on there.
George Takei.
George Takei is on there, yeah. I gave that away kind of.
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee is on there, yeah.
Oh, Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan for sure. My personal favorite, the King.
Who else we got out there?
Some you'll just like get so mad when I tell you. Would you believe Keanu Reeves gets counted? And Ben Kingsley?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Pat Morita.
Oh, yeah,
There you
Pat
go.
Morita.
And
Yeah.
then some old Hollywood
Okay.
people, Anime Wong, Susie Hayakawa, and Seibu. And then anyone else? Someone named Mako, and someone named Key Luke.
Mako.
And someone named Philip Ong.
Mako. He was on MASH. Mako, however you pronounce his name, was he would play, an evil North Korean on MASH, but
Yeah. Jason Momoa went in last year.
Jeez, they
Yeah.
didn't waste any time on that.
Yeah.
well,
it
so
just
here,
seems
and
a-
I think the month of May, and I've been seeing it a lot on Pluto TV. I think the month of May may be Asian American
yes, it is.
Pacific
It is,
Islander
right.
month. So
It is.
maybe there's I'm not going to say an agenda, but it fits the monthly narrative to include Hong this time around. He's going to be the Asian American and or Pacific Islander that they recognize and give that honor to.
I think it's appropriate to add their influence to the story of Hollywood.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Way to go, James Hong. We salute you. We are not worthy of even probably talking about you, but we're doing it. With more than 650 film and television credits, he is one of the most prolific actors of all time. James Hong on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Hey, guys, we've got a brand new Patreon patron. Yeah, we're picking up some steam here. We're at number 6.
Yeah.
So welcome Matt Mortensen to the family. Matt, thank you so much for joining us on Patreon. Jeff has a quizzical look. What's that look about, Jeff?
It's just amazing how this is snowballing. Our growth is exponential. We've gone from 1 to 2 to 6. I mean, it's only a matter of time before we're literally a religion. Do the math
Now,
on
Matt-
that. By the end of the month, that's like billions of people.
Matt Mortensen just popped up out of nowhere from my radar. He had not contacted us on any social media or anything. He just popped up. He's in at the Swiss Army knife level, by the way, which is the top tier, which gets you all the perks, including a guest co-host spot
right.
with us, just like Claire Fisher had last time, and what a great job she did. But Mike, you know just a little something about Matt Mortensen. What can you tell us?
Well, okay, you talk about how he didn't pop up on any of the socials. You know what he did? He slid into my text messages last week. Last Saturday, I was out bowling with my daughters, and my oldest daughter, Abby, had a friend over for a sleepover. So the 4 of us are at the bowling alley. I get a text message from a 612 area code, and I look it up, and I think it was Minnesota or something like that. And the text
Of course,
says,
it's Minnesota.
it says, "Hi, is this Lentil Mike? I'm looking to get into some lentils. I hear they're nature's candy." I said, "Ha, better than capers. To whom do I have the pleasure of being trolled by?" And he said, "Matt Mortensen, no troll, just a fan. Found the podcast last week and have gotten to season 1 celebration episode. Great podcast."
That's king
So
shit.
I
Wow,
said,
that
no.
is-
I said, it's totally cool. I said, my phone number was said at least once during season 1. Thanks for tuning in and enjoying what we do.
That's king shit, man. That's total boss move, Matt. I mean, respect.
That was awesome. Like, good for
Yeah.
you for having a big set of lentils to want to reach out on that. I mean, of
our
all the people that could have cold texted me, I would not have gone with Matt Mortensen, but that was great. I mean, aside from the fact that I whooped a bunch of kids while I was bowling, that made my Saturday night last week.
Here's the deal. Matt came in hot. He's impressive. Our previous co-hosts have been really good. So, Matt, I mean, you're setting a high bar early there, my man.
So here's the thing. You mentioned it quickly, Mike, but you said your phone number one time early on in season 1, well over a year ago. So
Right.
he just got to that episode and decided to take you up on a text. And that
did.
number's
I
still
appreciate
out there. If people want to go search for that number, more people can do this and get into Mike's life that way if you want more Mike Garland.
717-422-7910.
Oh, you did it again. You gave the
I
whole
I did
number?
do it again.
Now
That's
he's
the whole
just-
number. That's
He's
the
just
real number.
inviting it. You should have given away the hotline.
Well, he'll do that
Oh,
momentarily.
right. He's single now. That's why he's giving that number.
Right, so I can get more great text messages from folks like Matt Mortensen and Bo Rigby
Oh,
and
what
Gary
about
from
Pia?
Canada.
What about Pia in North Dakota with those amazing limericks? You would
Limericks,
take some of
yes.
that in your
Yeah,
inbox.
I was Mia in Australia. I was hanging out with a couple of Aussies today at the day job, so I was thinking of Mia.
All right. So if you want to join us on Patreon, maybe become a patron, there's 3 levels. It's $5, $10, or $15 a month. And here's the thing. Even if you do, so $15 is where you can come on and co-host and you pick an episode. But so Matt just came on. We're finishing up season 2 pretty much here. So what we've told Matt, and we'll tell this to anyone, is if you come on at the $15 level and let's just say you do 1 month. You do 1 month at the $15 level, we will still find a slot for you as co-host. If he does a few months and then he drops out, we're still going to set him up with a season 3 episode. So don't worry about, we're not trying to like bilk anyone here, but so far we've had pretty good loyalty of anyone who joins. The perks are good and they're increasing all the time. And that is a great segue into this next bit. We've got a little programming note for you. We love doing these episode recaps and they will continue, but we are going to do what MacGyver did in 1987 and 88 and 89. And we are going to not give you reruns as ABC gave you, but we're going to give you, go ahead, Vern.
Summer refresh.
Yes, a summer refresh. So after we do the next episode recap, final episode of season 2, we're going to do some different things. So among the things we're going to do is a listener-only episode. So we are putting the call out right now. If you have some MacGyver memories you'd like to share, some opinions, a favorite episode, a favorite memory, a hot take, funny, serious, poignant, whatever, send it to us. So we are looking for good quality audio, MP3s, roughly 5 minutes or less. If it's a minute, that's fine. If it's 550, okay. But ideally, under 5 minutes. And send it to makingfunofmacgyver@gmail.com. As long as it's MacGyver related and the audio quality is good, we're going to string those together, put them together, and have a great listener-only, fans-only episode. And the deadline for those submissions is around June 20th. So definitely, we want to hear what you have to say. We're looking forward to that. We're also going to do a couple of movie reviews that, on the surface, have nothing to do with MacGyver, but we're going to find a way to make it work. Trust us. And Jeff is going to have an advice show, but that's also going to have a MacGyver twist. So a lot of fun things are coming your way. Don't worry, we are not abandoning the episode recaps, but we're going to refresh ourselves, recharge the batteries, do some different things, and be fully ready to talk MacGyver Season 3 in September. But before then, plenty of episodes coming your way, lots of good stuff. I think you'll enjoy it. Guys, your thoughts on that?
I look forward to doing some different things with it, and my wife's having a baby, so I kind of got to focus on that this summer too. So it will be fun, what we have ready, and then we'll be back ready, recharged.
First of all, the only reason your wife is having a baby is because, well, you were there, you saw it happen, so, you only have yourself to blame for that. Secondly, it will be fun to do some other things. I have a couple of interview ideas in the back of my mind, and then I also have just some random TV shows that I like to watch that I might talk about. I'm a big MASH fan. I enjoy Growing Pains and those shows from the 80s. We've talked about that. I'm a big Back to the Future fan, so I may just kind of touch on some of those things that make me tick from an entertainment standpoint, and we'll get through that through the summer. Now, I guess I would wonder, Sam, is if we want to stay in line with MacGyver, which ultimately came out every week, but we only tape episodes every 2 weeks, how do we stay on top of that?
Well, we won't be able to stay exactly, but if you'll notice, when we did the Friends episode, that aired on April, let me get it for you real quick. So Friends aired on April 6, 1987. Tonight's episode, DOA MacGyver, aired April 27th, 1987. So they went 3 weeks. Usually in the fall, they'll come out of the gate September and October, every week a fresh episode. Then you get around Christmas time, and then they'll start to skip some. And then once you get to the spring, they'll really start to take some breaks. So, but generally September to May is when the network TV schedule ran back in the 80s and 90s, and still, I guess, does in many situations. So we won't always be right on time, but we'll be back. We'll catch up a little bit. They'll get ahead of us, but we'll be in the ballpark. And also, don't remember, we got the Season 2 celebration still coming your way this summer. That takes weeks for me to put together on its own, so I need time to do that. And that episode is a doozy as our Season 1 celebration episode. It's our longest ever. That's what Matt just listened to. That came in at 2 hours even. And statistics show the only thing longer than the Season 1 celebration episode is the viewer mail theme.
don't know, man. Somewhere at the bottom of this mine in this joke, there's a nugget of comedy, and I'm gonna keep drilling.
I think one thing we can do at the end of the summer, at the end of the season 2, is retire, or shorten up the length. Come back in season 3. That should be a promise, maybe to our listeners. We will, get this thing under control for season 3.
We could do a whole special episode where I take it out and kill it. It'll just be a whole narrative, like MacGyver episode. We'll review how I killed it. It'll be great.
Okay, all right. We do have a letter this week. And it's from Harry in Phoenix. Remember we talked about Harry a couple of weeks ago?
Hey, bud,
He's a
bud.
new fan.
No, not
Yeah,
that
Harry
one.
in Phoenix. Not that one. No. You think we treated Harry a little badly last episode?
Maybe a little. But he's not going
Yeah.
to remember, so it's okay.
Okay. I mean, jeez. So Harry in Phoenix, not Grandpa Harry, just Harry. Subject line, great show, with an exclamation point. And his first sentence is MacGyver, that is, not the podcast.
Aww.
Just kidding. Right away, I love it. That's really one of the first messages we've got where someone tries to give us a little humor right off the bat. Loved it. So he says, great show, just MacGyver, that is, now the podcast. Just kidding. I started listening to your show a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm right around episode 40. I'm a longtime MacGyver fan. I've seen every episode multiple times. The way you guys dissect the episodes is great, and your banter is absolutely hilarious, but sometimes I think you need more of an 80s filter on your opinions. But I think even Stubbins and Marlowe would approve. The kid's good. The kid is good. I appreciate the time you guys put into the show, from the sounds and editing to acquiring interviews with actors. Your friendships seem very genuine for 3 guys crossed between the 3 Stooges and the 3 Amigos, and I'm glad I found you guys late. When I have to wait for new episodes, it'll be a sad day. Any chance you guys are interested in reviewing the 1987 book too? Keep up the good work and cream me later. Man, this guy,
Wow.
he touched all the bases.
He didn't text me, though. He didn't
did
call
not
me.
do
He didn't
that.
text
Wow.
me.
You're
That's
gonna start a
really
competition.
awesome. That's a really awesome email and letter. And thank you, Harry. I mean, I guess I can't speak for the other guys, but I appreciate that. That's really cool.
Yeah, so the book he mentions from 87, is that what
Yeah.
he said? MacGyver on Ice. MacGyver on Ice, available on Amazon for only $102 right now.
Wait,
The way Amazon does that.
how much is in the Patreon?
Not that much.
How much is in the
We're
Patreon?
saving up. No, we got enough to buy that.
That seems like,
Lifetime.
that seems like what the fans would want us to do with that
What's
money.
like a digital copy? Does anybody have a Kindle? What's an ebook version of that thing cost?
No, but Harry, that's a great letter out of you. Great job. Thank you for the kind words. We are thrilled that you like what we're doing. Guys, let me take you right back now to Monday, April 27, 1987. The number 1 film of the country is The Secret of My Success, starring Michael J. Fox and Helen Slater. Now, Mike, you are our resident Michael J. Fox, at least when it comes to Back to the Future, mega fan.
Yes, I am.
Did you see The Secret of My Success?
No, and I'm still looking for the secret of my own success. But
I guess
did not see.
it
that
was
movie.
number 1 for several weeks. I have not seen it either. It was number 1 for several weeks, but I don't think any of us have ever seen it. I'm a huge Michael J. Fox fan. You know where I recently just read an article about him in the AARP magazine?
Oh my!
Both
ways. Oh my!
The number 1 song in the country, April 27, 1987, is Died in Your Arms, parentheses at the beginning, I Just Died in Your Arms. This is the debut single by the English pop rock band Cutting Crew. The song was written by frontman Nick Van Eed. It's a power ballad. It's the band's biggest hit. Peaked at number 1 in the U.S., Canada, several other states. Norway, by the way, Christian. But the words, I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight, allegedly came to Van Eed while he was having sex with his girlfriend. Just like everything innocence about our childhood that you thought was just pure, we'd come to find out it was about sex. Van Eed was having sex with his girlfriend. The French phrase la petite mort, or the little death, being a metaphor for orgasm.
Fucking French, man. They're so weird.
And that's fitting because you're about to experience an eargasm as Jeffrey Hess covers Cutting Crew in this 80s classic.
Oh, I just died in your arms tonight.
And
All
scene.
right. Good
We
job.
love when the songs begin with the chorus.
I don't feel like I was on key there. I feel like she's going, oh, I just died in your arms. No, is that worse? Is that better or worse?
Yeah.
It must have been something you said.
Oh, why? I just died in your arms tonight.
I couldn't walk away.
Yeah.
Guys, how good did that duet, after some masterful editing by me, how good did that duet between Claire Fisher and Mike Garland sound with Starship?
Okay, so it sounded so good that it prompted me today to buy tickets to see Starship
Claire Fisher
at the York. No, she's not for sale. At the York Fairgrounds, July 30th. So I'm going to go see Starship and the Steve Miller Band, and this definitely played a role. And because she has already put it out on her Twitter, Claire had COVID when she was singing that with us. Like, she's like, oh, I've got a little sore throat or whatever. Like, no, you've got the COVID. So she sounded great. Claire brought so much to that episode. It was great.
Gosh. She was the MVP. If you listen back to that episode, she's dropping in. She's schooling us. She's giving knowledge. She's bringing up things about Richard Dean Anderson that we never bring up. She was one of our best singers we've had yet.
Well, yeah, because most of the other options are me, you, and Jeff. Vern, Bo Rigby.
Oof, that was a rough one. Vern and Bo Rigby was a rough duet. But anyway, so there you go. The stage is set, right? Got you in that nostalgia mentality. The only thing you need now is a little MacGyver. And we're getting close to the end of season 2, folks. It's been a wild and woolly one. A lot of things to dissect in season 2, but we got 2 episodes left. I'm not a big fan of that phrase penultimate. It just kind of makes me think about something ultimate, and it just means next to last. But this is the penultimate episode of season 2. It's episode 21, DOA MacGyver. And now I hand over the reins of the show to Master MacGyver storyteller Mike Garland.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. And we open again with Mac enjoying a lazy day in California, driving the Jeep and offering us a monologue.
Most people come to Southern California for the sunshine, but there are others who burn easily, so they stay in the shadows. Anthony Braddock was one of them. Tony Braddock was a professional chemist. He'd worked himself out of a career with British intelligence and into building bombs for anyone who'd pay him. Maybe he wasn't the kind of guy you'd want your kids to grow up to be, but one of his bombs got me out of prison in Morocco. So when he called early on a quiet Sunday afternoon and said he was in trouble, I had to make good on my IOU.
So Mac walks into this warehouse, this dock building, if you will, and he's got a lot of things on. There's a jacket, there's a shirt, there's another shirt. He's got at least 2 collars going on under this jacket, but he walks in, he's meeting with this Anthony Braddock fella, and Braddock calls out his name, MacGyver, like Buddy would, and he comes out of the shadows. They meet up. Braddock says that he needed to make sure that Mac was alone, and Mac says that yes, indeed he is. Pete wanted to come, and it was hard to keep him from tagging along on the trip. Apparently a bit of a rocky relationship between the two here, Pete and Braddock, that is, as Braddock takes a swing from a flask, and we cut back to outside, same road, and this camper with 3 people pull up, and there's 2 guys and a girl, no pizza place in this case. They're told that Braddock, that he would be there. The leader tells the other guy, Jules, to check the warehouse and bring Braddock to him if he finds him. Tara, who's
going to run the jewels. He's going to run the jewels inside. Yeah.
So you have Tara, you have Jules, and you have who we will ultimately learn to be Lancer.
You've got a Benetton ad there. It's really nice the way they got the white guy, the black man, the Asian woman.
Yes.
There's a Benetton ad. Yeah.
They were. And would she have some sort of tracksuit on? What was she wearing there? It was an interesting outfit that I thought Tara had on. But anyways, she opens the camper door. Jules can't just open it himself. There's got to be like this little button. And Jules goes and he's listening through the crack of the door, and he retreats back to the RV. Mac and Braddock, they're still there talking. Mac asks what he's been up to and thanks him again for saving his life back in Morocco. And Braddock asks MacGyver if he's ever heard of someone with the code name of Lancer. Mac says no. Well, apparently Lancer hired Braddock for work. He thought it was legit, but it wasn't. We go back to the RV. We see Jules tell the crew that he found Braddock, but there's this other guy there. And Tara, of course, thinks it could be Braddock's sidekick, his associate. Jules, the other guy, Lancer, return to the warehouse, and they hear Braddock explaining what he built for Lancer and why it's such a big deal.
At Lancer's behest, and For a large sum of money, I developed an explosive with a remarkable, stable molecular structure. You can mold it like plastic and weave it like cloth. It's quite deadly. It's my crowning achievement, you might say.
Well, it turns out Lancer wants to assassinate an elite group known as Omega Force. Braddock says one explosion will take care of all of them. So it's important for Mac to figure out where this is going to be. He asks about some relevant details, what's going to happen, when, where, etc. And Braddock explains that it's going to be a funeral coming up. All these Omega Force folks are going to be there. And Mac's wondering how the bomb is going to be disguised. And Braddock says that it could be in anything, that it can be molded and shaped and placed in pretty much anything. But it's all supposed to happen within 24 hours at this funeral. So Mac says he's going to let Pete know and alert the authorities. Now, Jewel... Go ahead, Jeff.
One of my problems with this episode is, damn, that's a lot going on.
It is. We're like 6 minutes, 7 minutes in. That's a lot going on.
There's like 9. You have to remember like 8 people's nicknames, and you have to learn Omega Forces, and you have to learn about this new explosive.
All I know is that when MacGyver has a lazy Sunday and people reach out, he should just send that shit to voicemail. Just stay home.
This is just a regular Sunday for him.
This
really
was
my point when he tried to quit. Like, this shit just comes to him.
He tried to quit the last episode, but all of his friends talked him out of it.
Yeah.
Jules and Lancer, they bust into the room. They shoot Braddock. Mac gets away, but the chase is on. And they say, oh, he doesn't have a gun. But then the first, I don't know if this is really a MacGyverism, but ultimately it could be based on Jeff's quick thinking and wit. MacGyver finds 2 pieces of wood, slaps them down on the ground to mimic the sound of gunshots to buy him a few extra seconds. Jeff, can you make gun sounds by slapping pieces of wood on the ground?
Does it MacGyver?
I didn't look that up. Hell no, you can't. Nobody knows that. Nobody thinks that sounds like a gunshot. They didn't even believe it in that second.
I think they kind of did.
They go, he doesn't have a gun. That's their response.
Hey, I don't want to sidetrack us here, but I actually had a similar experience when I was a teenager. It was at a high school dance. I was a freshman, and there were these 2 seniors. They were bullies, classic bullies. And they chased me out of the gymnasium, and I like ran down the street, and funny enough, it was into an abandoned warehouse, and they followed me, and it was kind of dark in there, so I hid in a corner. I didn't know what to do. I was nervous as anything, but they were getting closer. I could hear. So like MacGyver, I actually also started slapping my wood, like really, really going at it, like serious, furious wood slapping, one might even call it. And I don't think it sounded like gunshots, but when they did turn the corner and they saw me slapping my wood, they turned right around and left. So yeah, I'd say if you're ever being chased by 2 bad guys, I can vouch for it. Slapping your wood is a pretty good escape plan.
Well, if this episode of MacGyver is any example, it's really loud. Apparently, slapping that wood is so loud you can hear it from across the warehouse.
Were you using a bottle of hull cleaner while you were doing that?
Geez.
Because MacGyver finds a bottle of hull cleaner, and he works to mix it with some ammonia for our first MacGyverism of the episode. Jeff, this one's legit.
Does it MacGyver?
So he asked for muriatic acid and ammonia. And I think people will know muriatic acid by its more common name of hydrochloric acid. And that is, in fact, what they use to clean off the hulls of boats. Have you guys heard of hydrochloric acid before? It's like in your stomach and shit.
Yeah. I didn't know it was in my stomach, but yeah.
Yeah, it is in your stomach. It's what helps break down your food. It's also food additive. They make gelatin out of it. Leather processing, household cleaners, pickling of steel. I don't know, tons of stuff. Anyway.
Steel.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so much better.
Way better than
like,
lentils.
What? Yeah. Pickled steel.
Capers.
Nature's not candy.
Nature's toothpick.
So according to chemguide.uk, this is what's important to remember. The hydrochloric acid solution is just hydrogen, chlorogen, and water, and ammonia is ammonia gas in water. So they're just gas really diluted into water. And so when the ammonia gas interacts with the ammonium gas, they produce, among other things, water, which is what you see. That's that cloud of dust. So those 2 chemicals interacting, one of the byproducts is a water vapor. And you can look up videos of this on the internet, and it makes exactly this reaction. They mix the 2 gases up, and water vapor comes out. So this 100% MacGyver's. But I got a question for you.
Go for it.
He still gets shot. Now,
Boo got
Mike
shot.
hasn't said it. Mike hasn't said it yet, but he's about to get shot, or nearly shot. So I want to say it MacGyver's because it works. But in the world of the show, it literally fails to protect him from the gunshot. So how do we rule that? Does this MacGyver?
I would say yes, because it did create a diversion.
But he still got shot.
Well, did he get shot? Let's find out.
The guys see him and shoot at him. The chemical fog there doesn't
They do
really,
what?
They shoot at him. They
Is
shoot
that what you
at
said?
him.
Okay.
Oh, is there a dispute over whether or not he gets shot?
He doesn't get shot. No, at no
He
point.
gets shot.
Where does he get shot, though? In the head?
In the head. In the forehead.
I thought that
He
happened
has
when he
his-
goes through the window, which is the next
Right.
bit. They
Is it
see
a bullet
him.
grazing or
They
is
shoot
it
at
glass?
him, and he falls backwards out of a window in off the pier into the water, and he's bloodied in the face, but otherwise seems okay as he crawls onto a boat and floats away. So I don't know that he got shot, but I think that him trying to get out of the way of the bullet or his reaction and then momentum, which took him through that window, is what cut him, and then the impact into the water from such a high elevation is what would have caused the amnesia that tends to follow him around through this particular episode. So I don't think at no point did she cure him of a gunshot
That's
or
true.
treat
Yeah.
him for a gunshot.
So he just flew backwards from the fright of the shot.
Jumping out of the
Because
way, using his Matrix
The guy that
style
did get shot
moves.
earlier got like yanked off a freaking like out of a car. Did you see that guy who gets shot the first time? He gets like shot like a cannon.
Like
he
Braddock?
flies back like 6 feet.
When Braddock gets shot?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so he's in the water. He crawls onto this boat that's floating away, and the guys see him, and they see that it's called Damien. So they're going to try to figure out where Damien the boat is headed and meet MacGyver there. In the meanwhile, we see the captain of the ship. She's a female, and the first thing we hear is her trying to place a call to her home before she heads to port. Her name is Carol Varney, I believe is what they call her through the episode. There are connection issues, and we apparently get the origin phrase of the "Can you hear me now?" here. She's dropping a few "Can you hear me nows" here, and she's cranky. She hits her radio, and we cut back to the Phoenix, by the way, as Carol's trying to get her call out. We go to the Phoenix where Pete and a woman named Helen are having a conversation. Helen is clearly Pete's secretary, but where the hell has Helen been for 40-something episodes to date? This is the first time we see Helen. I mean, we know Pete's single, Pete's divorced. I don't know what Helen's up to, but all of a sudden, Helen.
Well, she's so familiar. Let's stop and talk about these two actresses because they're both very familiar. First of all, what's her name? What's the blonde's name?
The boat lady?
Yeah.
Carol Varney?
Is she looking familiar to you guys?
No.
Okay, well, we just saw her last year in that's what you'd think you would
Hellfire?
call it. Yes.
That was the one with the slow motion. No, as the dynamite
Yes.
exploded.
She was in Hellfire. So she's back. And this actress's name is Nana Visitor. Both are unusual. Nana and Visitor. But born in 1957, New York City, still acting. Known for Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Friday the 13th, the reboot in 2009, Ted 2 in 2015. Still acting these days. Let's see, what else? She's been on Family Guy a bunch of times. Matlock, Empty Nest. But yeah, this is Nana Visitor, and we just saw her last year, and yet none of us... I got to say, guys, because this happened last episode with Tim Rosovich, we're kind of sucking at this, documenting this show and the actors that come on. We can't remember crap. Not even one season later can we remember these people when we see them again.
I'm pretty sure that's the point of the production crew. Like, nobody's going to remember they were in this episode before. Let's put them in.
They were right. Like, we're watching them in a binge, and we don't even remember.
Priscilla Morrill is Pete's secretary here. Born in 1927. Known for she was known for MacGyver? Okay. The FBI and the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I feel like she's has been some other things, though, right? I just recognize her. Oh, no. I don't know. One Day at a Time, Mork and Mindy, character actress. AB School After Specials. So,
Was she uncredited teenage hooker at any one of those?
She got the credits, I think. But
Okay.
Anyway, so there you go.
So Pete has a secretary. Her name is Helen. Damien, floating still in the water as Pete's trying to get Helen to call the police. Mac kind of wobbles into the cabin of Damien the boat. And, of course, Carol's super defensive, wondering who this person is, why he's on the boat. And Mac can barely get a sentence out as Carol's kind of interrogating him.
Please, help me.
Who are you? How did you get on my boat? Come on, answer me.
I don't know.
Just stay right where you are.
I won't hurt you.
Yeah, I'll make sure of that.
MacGyver down. MacGyver out. So Carol tries to radio for help again. Still no call. Max passed out. She walks over with a wet rag to at least try to assist and dab some of that blood off his head. So she's trying to be helpful, but still very cautious. The RV back on land that has Lancer and Tara and Jules in it, they're trying to figure out where the boat's going as well. Now, the morning after, Max coming to as the boat comes into port, and she offers him some really bad coffee, and he accepts, and she wants to know who he is, how he got there. He's totally not sure, and she's very standoffish about all this. Now let me ask you this. If you're in this scenario, you clearly see someone's in distress. Are you more concerned with trying to help them or protect yourself?
It's another good moral dilemma, because I was thinking about this too. We've had a few of these in a row, but I was thinking about that too, because there's that fear, especially for a woman, right? A strange guy bleeding drops onto your boat. Yeah, but I don't know. Even for me, I would be nervous about what does this person want. So you try to walk that narrow line, I guess. Use your best judgment. I don't know.
That depends on your opinion of this next Does It MacGyver.
Does it MacGyver?
So, amnesia, is it real? Like what he's doing here, this has been like a television trope. You're talking about like if you're this woman and this happens, is it real? Is what happened to MacGyver here real? Mike?
Yes.
Sam?
I'll say yes.
Wrong.
Damn.
Ooh.
According to the Mayo Clinic, which is top tier you're going to get, amnesia refers to memory loss of facts and information experiences. Although forgetting your identity is a common plot device in movies and television, that's generally not the case. Usually what happens is you get what's called amnesiac syndrome, where you can't form new memories. It's due to damage to areas of the brain that are vital to memory processing. So what amnesia means is that you can't form new memories. Like you've heard of these people who like have those very short memories, stuff like that. But the whole like, oh, I hit my head, which is why I think he gets shot, is because like the whole joke is like, oh, bonk them on the head, they get amnesia, that kind of thing. So anyway, no, amnesia, it does not MacGyver.
Okay. I feel we might get some feedback on that. Someone has to say you can lose your memory that way, but I guess you wouldn't call it amnesia.
Can we
It'd be
check
more
with
brain
Mayo
damage.
Clinic says that's generally not the case.
Send your
So,
hate mail to Mayo Clinic, not to Jeff.
You can,
What
I'm
about,
sure maybe it's happened.
Grandpa Harry, does he have amnesia?
Hey,
no,
bud.
it's more dementia.
Hey, bud.
So,
And we really shouldn't be making fun of it. But
so I mentioned the woman's name is Carol, but this is the part where we actually know that her name is Carol. She introduces herself to MacGyver, but what happens next? Like the irony of what happens next can't be lost on any of us. After she introduces herself, this would be the time in every other episode where he says, "Name's MacGyver." But he stands there with a puzzled look on his face, and the dramatic music plays, and she asks again, and he doesn't know.
I just introduced myself. It's customary to respond in kind. What's your name?
I don't know.
You don't know your name?
I can't remember.
Everybody knows your name, bro. It's MacGyver.
See the scar on his head? That's where he got shot. The bullet
he really should have went to
doinked
like
him.
Cheers, because you want to go where everybody knows your name. If he had just walked into the bar Cheers, he would have been all set.
But isn't that kind of a neat little cliffhanger there going into the end of Act 1? Because we all know that's like the running gag of the show is how many times his name is said over and over again, and now all of a sudden, he doesn't know his name.
That's probably the most important thing to these writers, the fact that all of a sudden he might not be able to say his name.
Like the guy on the writing crew responsible for that probably just had the week off.
It is glorious peak 80s brilliance. I mean, like, getting amnesia had been plot lines, like, so much. It is a classic thing you do for your television show. So I say bravo. It's a great setup. It's hilarious. It's also why I think he got shot in the head. Because that's the trope, is you get bonked on the head and you lose your memory.
But I think he just got bonked in the head. I don't think he got shot. We're going to have to watch the tape and go back and check it out. All right, Axminster 2. After a really long Act 1... we get to Carol and MacGyver. They're on the boat in this place called Bristol Harbor. She asks how the head is, and
That's better than the coffee.
She asks how the wound on his cranium is doing.
Oh, okay.
And he said that the outside is sore and jokes that the inside is a little empty right now. So clearly it was good head if it's empty.
It's better than slapping my wood all night.
I've gone that way again. So she jokes that the first thing she jokes that MacGyver is the first thing she's landed in weeks. Clearly it's been a rough spell fishing for her. And Mac sees a man welding in port and has a flashback. It was like flashbacks from 2 different episodes, and the one I think is at Last Stand from season 1, episode 7, where these were really weirdly placed and random flashbacks, almost less of a point flashing back here than what we saw in the clip episode last week.
I could not believe that they were showing old clips just after an entire clip. The cojones on the producers and the writers here to still need to lean on borrowed footage from previous episodes was amazing, and I loved it.
I think we are going to need a second mullet rating scale for this lady's blonde mullet. That thing is glorious. So, I want to know if there's a mullet wrestling contest between Mac's mullet and this lady's blonde mullet, which mullet is the superior mullet?
Currently hers.
Oh, 1 vote for the blonde lady, Sam?
I'll go with Mac.
Oh, it's tied. I don't know. I can't turn away from MacGyver. It's got to be Mac's mullet.
Carol's still pressing, asking what's wrong, and he says he's not really sure, that he's remembering some things and he's trying to piece stuff together, but he's not really sure, and she wants to take him to a doctor, but he says no. Emphatically, he says no, and he says the doctor's just going to have questions that I don't have the answers to anyway, and he said he just wants some time to think, which seems counterproductive when you can't think of anything right now. We get back to the warehouse. There's a press reporter. By the way, the press reporter is Lancer undercover, asking the police lieutenant some questions and wants to know kind of what's going on there.
Benson, the Times.
Yeah.
Lancer is asking.
What do you got, Lieutenant?
1 murder victim in a warehouse back there. Took a 9mm right in the pump.
Any suspects?
Investigations in progress.
No suspects?
No.
But I got to give some props to Lancer. The villain is very clever throughout all of this.
Yeah.
It's sidekicks who are very stupid. But the villain himself is smart and capable.
Yeah, he did play that role well, as I look up his name. John Plachette. John Plachette sounds very familiar, but his face does, he does a good job. You would not think suspects. That's the guy to scare you as the big evil villain. He looks like he's about 5'6" and about 140, but he was a chameleon out there. He was on the Truman Show and Rocky too. John Plachette, both of those.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Lancer as Benson from the Times, is that what he said? He's trying to piece together and figure out, because they don't know if MacGyver was like Braddock's contact or what the deal is. They don't know if he's dead. They don't even know who they really shot at or shot. But clearly they know there's a second person involved, so they need to find him. And the cop explains that Braddock is dead. He's talking to Pete at this point. He explains Braddock's dead, that he found a jacket and MacGyver's ID floating in the harbor, but doesn't really have any other information. So Pete just says, hey, Mac was there to meet a friend and didn't really have much to say. And, of course, we don't know Mac is dead yet, so we can't assume that he is. No body's been found. We don't know. So Braddock's, I think Lancer's stressing a little bit still. Back at Crystal Harbor, Carol's there with Mac. They're talking about how he's pretty skilled around a boat. Mac hears an engine rev from a speedboat and flashes back to yet another season 1 episode. I don't remember this one, but this is the one that had the... is this the one where the guys fall off the front porch of the cabin and fall into the water?
I think this is Prisoner of Conscience. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, I think this is Prisoner of Conscience with the speedboat chase in Russia.
So that's another flashback, two or three flashbacks here early in Act 2. And she said, what's going on? And he says that everything he's thinking about is filled with explosions and gunfights, and he's in the middle of all of it. So I think he's struggling to paint the kind of picture of a person, who is he? Who is this guy, and what's my problem? We meet Carol's nephew, Jason. He comes up with a bicycle, and he's grumbling about how the bike's not working. So MacGyver immediately jumps into action and takes off the little vanity license plates from under the kid's seat and creates a chain guard to keep the chain from popping off. Glacier, pop off.
Well, I should go to Jeff more so. Jeff, can you fix a bike chain with a small license plate?
Does it MacGyver?
Does this MacGyver? First of all, Jason, weak kid. Just put the chain back on, baby.
Oh,
Don't
wait
be
a second. Hold on.
Well, MacGyver explains why.
Hold on. His name is Jason, this kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is now our Friday the 13th episode. We're recording this on May 13th, Friday the 13th. I knew it would be a perfect Friday the 13th ep.
And just like Jason, he snuck up on you. But get it together, Jason. Come on. But according to gopherventure.com, which is an outdoor exercise website, they say, yes, chain guards are necessary sometimes to keep your chain on its track. That could be from like terrain or from clothing or from the biker. They're especially good at high speeds where if the chain comes off, it can scratch the frame, or worse, it could become damaged or tangled. So MacGyver 100% saved this kid's life because that was dangerous for him riding around with that chain falling off, and now he has fixed it.
But I have to ask, like, I don't know how old this Jason kid is, but he looks pretty young. Anybody take notice how high the seat was on Jason's bike?
He did put that high, leave that seat a little high.
It was freaking up there. His feet are never touching the ground. If he's got to stop, he's crashing. So
wait, was that on that bike or the bike he gets at the end?
No, it was on that bike.
Okay.
So Mac fixes the bike, and Carol takes Mac to get some food, and Lancer and his crew are nearby at the harbor, and Tara in the camper talking with Lancer, and she says, well, we've got one of two things here.
As of 2 hours ago, Thornton hadn't heard from MacGyver.
There are two possibilities. Either he's alive or he's dead. If he's dead, they'll bury him. If not, we'll find him and kill him.
Jeff, is she on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
I was wondering that.
I only asked that based on the fact that she seems to be an Asian American.
I don't know. Who is it?
I'm going to say she's not, but I'll look into it.
We'll look into it, and maybe
her name is Kim Miori. Kim Miori, and her picture on IMDb is horrifying. It's her. Oh my goodness. Oh, she was in The Grudge too. So it's her like with like these blue contacts, gray hair, and looking like a scary old woman.
She is not.
So MacGyver and The Grudge too. Yeah, good chance she's not. Jeff, I could have probably guessed that without Jeff looking it up.
No, she's not. I went and looked at the list. She's
I
not.
didn't know if she was
but
on
I'm
your
up
list.
for doing a letter writing campaign to get her in there. Kim Miori.
I don't
let's
see any
do it.
reason why she shouldn't be in there. Definitely got the resume.
By the way, all the things she described doesn't sound good to MacGyver. Like, he's dead, or we find him and kill him. I feel like either way that ends with he's dead. Lancer, by the way, says not that simple, because if MacGyver has already passed on the info, then they're in trouble. And he reveals that the explosive that Braddock was talking about, well, he already has it, and it's been woven into this jacket that he has. So Carol and Mac, they're still doing their thing. She explains how she lost a loved one once, but in doing so gained the boat, and that's her new love, and she wants to get more into marine science, but stays doing what she's doing because of the boat and its memories. Speaking of memories, ironically enough, Max sees a sticker for Phoenix, Arizona, in this case, on the back of a truck, and starts to think about maybe work. Phoenix.
It says
Foundation.
I love Phoenix.
Yes.
It's one of those I love Phoenix bumper stickers you see all the time.
He can't totally wrap his mind around what he's trying to think about. And Carol's throwing some things at him. He finally remembers that the Phoenix Foundation is in Los Angeles, and he goes to make a phone call. Now, he remembers the damn phone number. So he does make the call. We're at Pete's office now. Helen giving him the lowdown on the current situation. But ultimately, Pete's pressing because he wants to find out where Mac is. And Helen says something about how somebody maybe above Pete was really angry at him and was threatening his position with the company, but then she sort of blackmailed him and said she still had some pictures from something this other person did, but it was all a ruse and just a bluff to save Pete's butt. But she tells Pete about Braddock and Lancer, and that Lancer is planning a hit anytime now. So as they're talking, the phone rings, and it's MacGyver. Only MacGyver doesn't know that he's MacGyver, and Pete and he barely exchange words before Jules shows up with a gun. Now, Carol says that MacGyver can't remember anything, but he ushers them off. By the way, Carol says this to Jules, that MacGyver can't remember anything, but he ushers them off and away from the phone. And as they're walking away, Mac is asking Jules who he is and what he wants with him. And as they walk off, he kicks a pole out of what was holding up a boat and it falls on Jules, and he and Carol run off. And at the end of Act 2, we just get Pete screaming MacGyver and MacGyver and MacGyver over and over again. So I guess that makes up for all the times it hasn't been said so far. Jeff, you've got a does it MacGyver here. The boat on the bad guy. Does the boat on the baddie MacGyver?
Does it MacGyver?
So, according to Whitehall Rowing, which sells your basic kind of rowboat, like imagine a rowboat, that's what they sell. And it looks like what's in that. And it is 205 pounds. So I also looked up how much an average man can lift. And the website Livestrong, which used to be associated with Lance Armstrong, but it's kind of its own thing now, it has the average bench press weight for men of different weights and sizes. So I figured this is pretty good. Like if you can push yourself up and get off the boat. I'm going to say, what, you think he's weighing at 240?
220, 230,
220,
sure.
220. Okay, so here it says a 20-pound man, a novice, because he looks like he's a tough, he's not a nobody.
Yeah.
185 pounds. If you're intermediate, 225 pounds. So this might MacGyver. I think you can get trapped under this boat.
Well, maybe if you're under it, it takes you a few minutes to get out. But there's no way a boat is slowly falling on top of you perfectly to line you up as, you're a couple of paces behind MacGyver there.
Yeah, but should you find yourself under it, 205 pounds on that boat, you better hope it's aluminum. So, Jules, really bad goon.
We've seen worse goons, though. We've seen worse. Sandwich goon.
Sandwich goon. At least Sandwich goon has a gimmick.
I mean, if this was Sandwich goon, he'd just hang out under the boat. It'd be like a little fort, and he'd just hide there and eat his food. End of Axminster 2.
Let's take a break. Mac, I hate to say this, guys, but Mac is in a pickle. Mac is really in a pickle here, and I'm concerned. But we'll get into it in the second half. But right now, it's time for a time capsule commercial. We'll see what the sponsors were hawking back in April of 1987.
Hey, who's got the world's fastest pass? John Elway or Phil Simms? Neither. Continental and Eastern do. Introducing One Pass.
One pass?
One Pass has more ways to get upgrades fast.
First class.
One Pass. Earn free travel in as little as 4 trips.
The Caribbean.
One Pass. The fastest way to earn free travel to Europe or...
Away!
Call Continental or Eastern.
Don't touch down without it.
Some frequent travel card with John Elway and Phil Simms. One is now the general manager of an NFL team. The other, a popular, I guess, broadcaster on CBS.
But at the end, some really cringeworthy, shoulder jiving from Elway and Simms. Those two got no rhythm.
It was bad acting by those two quarterbacks right there.
Yeah. All right, let's get into Axminster 3 because I am concerned about MacGyver. First of all, I'm mainly concerned about him remembering his name because we need him to say the name.
He's in mortal peril here. I was nervous for this episode.
Because now they're on the run from Jules as Act 3 starts, and Mac does realize the Phoenix is real, and he tries to make another phone call. At least eventually he does. But as they're running here, he tries to have Carol go a different direction so that she doesn't get hurt or in trouble, but she doubles down to stay with him. And we go to the RV. We see Lancer and Jules and Tara. They're regrouping. Lancer mad that Jules let Mac get away, and Jules tells Lancer and Tara that he's got dirt on them, so maybe they both should stop giving him shit or pay him and he'll leave. And at this point, honestly, as Jules was doubling down on Lancer and Tara, I thought they were just going to shoot Jules and fix that problem quick. Well, so as everyone calms down, Lancer moves forward with arming the jacket.
MacGyver has amnesia, but amnesia is not a permanent condition.
It just has to last until the funeral today.
I don't think we can count on that.
Very good, Jules. Now Thornton knows MacGyver is still alive. And if he had the call traced, he'll be on his way. If he gets to MacGyver before we do, well, we can't let that happen, can we?
I hope you guys are starting to pick up on the MacGyver mentions. I mean, there's 3 or 4 right there. So
this is big time.
Just dropping that a little hint there.
I wonder why they used the European style plug when they armed the bomb as well. That was not your standard American plug that Lancer was using there.
A lot of bombs, Mike?
No, you did a lot of research in season 1. You should be a pro.
Not enough to know what plugs are used.
I don't know what plugs are used. I just know there was a European looking plug.
You got all 10 fingers?
Well, I have 8 fingers and 2 thumbs, but yeah.
Mike, bomb maker confirmed.
Well, we cut to Pete, who has hung up the phone and reveals that MacGyver had recently placed a call from a payphone in that harbor, so he instructs Helen to make a call and send help that direction as he heads out. And she chases him down so that he can wear his jacket, which is random, but I'm thinking, okay, well, the jacket's going to come into play at some point. Lancer just armed a jacket. Helen made a point for Pete to have a jacket. Jacket on, jacket off. I don't know what's going to be going on here shortly. There's going to be an explosion. So Pete heads out. He closes the door, but as he closes the door, the phone starts to ring, and it's MacGyver who's at Carol's house trying to call, but no one actually answers. And she's still trying to figure out what Mac's name is. He still doesn't know. He's not confident. She's heard MacGyver, but she can't get a confirmation from him, and he's not really confident of anything right now. He's actually starting to wonder if he might be the bad guy based on the flashbacks that he's been having. So she gets out some notepaper and tries to piece this together for him. Pete rolls into the parking lot at this harbor and finds the payphone. Now, MacGyver and Carol are gone by then, but, Pete's still sleuthing around, and he sees that kid Jason from earlier and approaches him, and the kid says he's not supposed to talk to strangers, but Pete, being the alpha predator that he is here, just keeps talking to Jason and convincing the little kid, my friend is a really nice guy. He's really kind. He helps others. He's trying to build his trust here.
Why don't you have a seat over there, Pete?
Chris Hansen comes in next.
1987. We are in the waning moments of when a 50-year-old man can talk to a 6-year-old boy on a pier. We're down to just a precious few years, if not months, and Pete is taking advantage of this innocent nature.
So he's continuing to try to, convince Jason that it's okay to talk to him, and he takes note of the handiwork on his bike and convinces the kid to lend a hand and offer some feedback. And I have to note, I saved this clip as Pete tries to capture a kid.
Well, what's he look like?
Well, he's kind of tall, a little over 6 feet. He's got brown hair, long and back, brown eyes. He's a nice guy. He doesn't dress like me, kind of casual.
He slaps his wood sometimes. Do you like wood slapping, Jason?
And come on, Jason, we can go find him. I've got my van right over here. Let's hop in. You can put your bike in and everything.
You can shave my cubes. Do you like shaving ice cubes?
It's my job. Don't you be giving that away. We go back to the RV. Lancer, he's taking a look at some paperwork, which would give him the address of Carol's house. Tina buzzes him out. It still bothers me that she has to buzz people out of the RV. Anxious
I think that's showing how high-tech and, super crime lab they are, because there's a button that just opens the door.
So Lancer is anxious to let Jules get out and kill MacGyver, and explains that he's got to assume that MacGyver told Pete about the plan, so eliminating Mac is the way to go right now. And Mac, he's having another flashback at Carol's house. This time it's sparked by a man looking at a fish on the dock. This is the Axminster episode, I believe. Then there's another flashback from earlier in this season. So again, a couple of random, just no context flashbacks here in season 2, episode 21. Basically, we're seeing a montage of people shooting at MacGyver and things blowing up. That's pretty much where that whole flashback scene went. And he remembers, as part of one of those flashbacks, that his friend Braddock has been shot, and that he needs to be at the West Side Cemetery because somebody's going to get killed there. So he picks up the phone, Mac does, realizes the phone is dead, and Jules pops in and basically says, yeah, so are you.
It's Jason. Jason is out there. The phone is dead, right? Cut the wires?
Yeah. So Carol trying to get away. She does. Mac does not. Jules, though, dead. Lancer shoots him. So here's the payoff. Lancer shoots Jules. Jules dead. Done. Bye, Jules. Of course, Lancer, knowing that MacGyver has amnesia, ultimately convinces MacGyver that he was the target and Jules was the hitman, and that he, referring to himself as Jonathan Dawkins from Intelligence, just saved him. I mean, this is almost like what Murdoch would do, the different identities, the different aliases, the mind games. Lancer then tries to convince MacGyver that Pete's actually the bad guy.
I need you to stop the killer.
Any idea who it is?
We got a suspect. He's a professional terrorist. His name's Peter Thorne.
Oh no! Not Chicken Legs Pete, who gets shot every time he pulls his gun out.
Just push him down in some snow. That ought to kill him pretty much. He won't be able to get up from that. He'll starve to death on his back.
Like a turtle.
Oh, Chicken Legs Pete. Just like a stiff breeze, and his arms just fall up like his ankles just shatter.
That's how Axminster 3 ends, by the way.
I love it. I love it.
Cruising on to Axminster 4.
Great.
Max in the RV. He's there with Lancer and Tina. And Lancer's making a fake radio call. We see that because the little radio gimmick is unplugged. And Mac asks how long he's been with military intelligence, and Lancer tells him it's been about 5 years, and he's talking Pete up as a member of this terrorist group that needs eliminated. Lancer says Pete's been trying to kill Mac for the last 5 years, so if he remembers anything, it should be Pete's face. So they're really trying to spin Pete as the bad guy here. Again, clearly Lancer does not know Pete's record with a gun, so like Mac is totally safe. We're back at Carol's house, and the police are there. They're removing Jules' body, and Carol tells Pete that MacGyver has been talking about a killing, that something was supposed to be happening today at the West Side Cemetery. So that's kind of what all MacGyver had been stumbling through with Carol. She's trying to pass it along to Pete. Now, Tina pulls the RV into the cemetery, and Lancer, with jacket in hand, walks out of the RV with MacGyver, and he gives Mac a gun, tells him not to take any chances, and walks away. MacGyver looks at the gun, puts it in his waistband. So this is not the MacGyver we know. This MacGyver has now accepted a gun into his pants. Sort of. We're at this funeral, and Lancer and Mac walk up. They join the group. Lancer arms the jacket and puts it down. He says he's going to go check on the perimeter and check in with security as well. They want to keep an eye out for Pete. As he walks away, he puts down the jacket.
You know, it's important that a jacket have arms, but this jacket is
armed. Yes. Pete arrives, by the way. He doesn't know he's a marked man yet, and Mac sees him and flashes back to an episode of Pete firing a gun. So in his mind, he knows that Pete is someone that would fire a gun. He starts walking towards Pete. Mac pulls out a gun and has drawn down on Pete, but Pete tries to convince MacGyver that you don't do guns, you hate guns. He wants to show him a picture of them together, and Mac kind of doubles down on his, holding of the gun at Pete.
MacGyver! Hold it. Stay right there. I know you've got amnesia. You don't know who I am, do you?
You're Peter Thornton. You're a killer.
Put down the gun.
I wouldn't.
I have a picture in my wallet of the two of us together. I want to show it to you.
I said don't move.
Right now, I know you better than you know yourself. You don't use guns. That gun doesn't feel right in your hand. It can't. You don't use guns, MacGyver. You hate them.
Oh, God.
That doesn't feel right in your hand.
If you're between the ages of, I'd say, 6 and 12, you are riveted and captivated by this. Because for me, I'm older than you guys, so like Batman, the original series, 66, or like $6 Million Man, or The Incredible Hulk, it's that same kind of like, this is really aimed at kids. This is so silly. If you're over the age like 16 and you're watching at this time, you got to be rolling your eyes at this. But I love it.
No, I love it. Like so far, like watching these clips back, and I keep increasing my rating on it. Like the zaniness, it's camp. It's like pure camp, and I love it so much. The whole Pete staring him down, it's great. It's great shit.
You don't use guns. Guns
Doesn't
bad.
feel right in your
MacGyver
hands.
good. You MacGyver. Me Pete. Guns bad.
He's trying to brainwash
memory
him
loss.
to the opposite of the dark side. The light side, I guess, would be the opposite of the dark side. So during this, I cut that clip. It went on as Pete was trying to talk MacGyver off the proverbial ledge, and he references the avalanche that, I saved you, and we cut back to that avalanche episode. So now we're flashing back to all of like 6 episodes ago or whatever. Mac finally gives up, hands the gun to Pete, and all of a sudden, poof, Mac remembers Mac. And he says he tells Pete that Braddock said there was going to be a killing, and Pete and Mac, they're on the same page again. They clear the area. Mac's scanning the room, thinking back to the conversation he had with Braddock. He spots the jacket, realizes the bomb is the coat, stuffs the thing in a bucket, and throws it under their RV, and it explodes. And Lancer and Tina, they're trapped there until the police show up, and Mac reintroduces himself. Name's MacGyver. as Axminster 4 comes to an end. Real quick Act 5 here. It's Mac, Carol, Jason the kid. They're walking in the harbor, and he's kind of explaining what he does with the Phoenix, and then gives the kid a new bike. And Carol thanks Mac, and we cut off to seeing Jason do some weird stunts on his bike. Like, that looked like a kid, too. That might have been actually the kid riding away.
You saved my life.
The end.
And the lives of a lot of other people, too. Thank you.
You made me look at my life in a whole new way. Memories are okay to have, as long as they don't get in the way of dreams.
Am I hearing what I think I'm hearing?
Marine science. Going back to school, nights and weekends. It's going to take a little longer, but I'll do it. And you'll be invited to graduation.
Well, that's something I won't forget.
MacGyver, look! Watch this!
I mean, do we think that was the kid actually riding the bike, like doing that stunt? I'm going to mute the sound and just kind of going to bring it to here. Jason screams over. Oh, I went too far there. Jason screams over MacGyver, watch, and we look, and I mean, that
looks like
that is
kid.
not the stunt. That is not a stunt man.
That looks like the kid. Does that look like the kid to you, Sam?
I guess.
Hollywood would never allow that to happen today. Never.
Unless, but I love
that kid's probably just like, watch this.
Let's not forget the most important part of this episode: not stopping the assassination, not recovering from amnesia, not killing Pete. It's encouraging this skipper boat lady to go back to school and study marine science.
Yes,
we still found a way to right a wrong there. We've sufficiently recapped, we've ridiculed, and now let's rate DOA MacGyver.
Name's MacGyver.
I'll go first. Despite the presence of more clips and me really not liking clip episodes, I did like this one. I guess it's the premise, the cheesiness. There's a lot going on. There is a lot going on, but not to a detriment of the episode, I think. I think it had some suspense. There's some music building up. There's what's going to happen here. This is a good episode. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but 1 to 10 mullets, I got 7.
So I agree. Listening to Mike explain it, it's convoluted, but watching it, it's an experience. It feels like a trip. It's a ride. It puts Mac in really weird positions. The whole amnesia setup is so 80s in camp, and it just, everything about it is perfect. It's a wonderful episode. It's one of the best this season, and I definitely think it's an 8 mullets out of 10 affair.
I thought the amnesia angle was at least different, although as 80s angles in TV go, it certainly wasn't unique. I didn't enjoy the over-dramatic Carol initially when MacGyver climbed on the boat. I thought that the dynamic between Tara and Jules and Lancer was pretty good. And who the hell is Helen? Like, will she ever be seen again? So I give it a 6 out of 10 mullet affair.
Ooh.
Decent, but there were too many moving parts for me to want to rate it higher.
Yeah, and I guess after having to try and explain all that, I'd hate it too. but like, you're gonna remember the time Mac pulled a gun on Pete. You'll remember the time Mac was about. You'll remember the time Mac got amnesia.
I'll remember the time
it's
he
good.
forgot.
I love it. Yeah.
Well,
I enjoyed it.
This breaks Mike's streak of being the highest having the highest rating for any episode. I think we talked about it last show, but he's given the highest rating for any episode. I'm taking a look here. It looks like 8-9 straight episodes Mike has offered the highest. So this breaks that snap. But we got a 7, we got an 8, we got a 6. Added up, divided by 3.
This one's rated 7 out of 10 mullets.
7 mullets out of 10 for this one.
See, to me, it's the sweet spot where the cheese meets the seriousness, and it just like it's so earnest. It's great, and it's so funny. They have to know it's funny. They have to know.
7.7 on IMDb.
Yeah,
according to the fans.
Is Bevo whatever down there?
No, he hasn't. There's no sign of him.
Bitch.
Sadly.
I calling you out, Bevo. We quit 40 episodes ago.
Guys, let's crunch the numbers. This is where we count up the MacGyverisms from the episode and see how many were successful. So, Jeff, MacGyverisms, what did Mac do?
So he made the smoke gas with the 2 chemicals. He got amnesia. He fixed the kid's chain, and he trapped a guy under a boat. The only one of those that doesn't work is the amnesia. So he's 3 for 4 MacGyverisms tonight.
Nice job, Mac. Way to go. 3 out of 4.
It's good. It's a good run. The boat, I was certain. I'm like, Goon's going to get trapped by the boat. No, sir. Goon snaring rate 100%.
All right. Let's count up all the times someone said MacGyver. The average lifetime for all the episodes we've watched so far, 14.8 times someone says MacGyver. Mike, how many times did someone say MacGyver here tonight?
I'm going to go with 26 because it started out slow and then it really picked up. It's like they had to make up for the fact that MacGyver didn't know MacGyver was MacGyver early on in MacGyver.
Right.
I agree. I even noticed it, and I never noticed it. And I'm going to go with a little higher, 28.
All right. Well, the fact that Jeff knows it says something. But a little more history on me counting up the MacGyvers here for a second. The all-time high is 36. That happened in the Deathlock episode, season 1, episode 12.
There's no way.
No.
That was 36. And but of course you remember that it was only beaten by someone saying quail 40 times.
That's my favorite episode. It's official. I love that. That's my favorite.
Is this more than 36?
Hold on. So Mike, do me a favor and grab the link it's going to be exciting. Grab that link, and can you share your screen so we can watch this together?
Okay, hold on. Let me go over here. Put this here.
This may be late to the show tonight.
Might be acceptably worth it. Okay, here we go.
MacGyver.
What about that other guy, MacGyver?
We don't know what Braddock told him.
So call MacGyver's place again.
No way.
I'm a big boy.
So's MacGyver.
MacGyver's still alive. He could tip off the world by then.
That's not. What about MacGyver? Did you find him?
Well, this man MacGyver, was he on some sort of intelligence? This MacGyver has some connection with Peter Thornton.
Has
No
MacGyver
way.
contacted
Okay,
him
so
yet?
we're at 8.
Thornton hadn't heard from MacGyver. MacGyver's passed on his information.
Could be MacGyver.
Is this the Phoenix Foundation?
MacGyver! MacGyver, is that you?
MacGyver.
MacGyver,
I'll try and
answer
help
me.
you. Just
Are you
move.
there, MacGyver?
Oh my God! All this
MacGyver,
time
this is
shouting
Pete.
at
You
the
gotta
phone. I
answer
forgot
me.
about them.
Please, you gotta answer me. MacGyver!
MacGyver was on the telephone when I got there.
What did
We're
MacGyver tell
at
him?
19.
First place.
Did you let MacGyver get
18's
away?
First Axminster.
MacGyver has amnesia. Now Thornton knows MacGyver is still
We
alive.
watched the whole damn
He
thing.
gets to MacGyver before we do.
That call from MacGyver came from a public...
Now, the man on the phone
Let's
called
get
you
like lap
MacGyver.
it.
Doesn't that mean anything to you?
No, it's just a name.
His name is MacGyver. He can fix anything.
MacGyver and the girl can both make me.
I thought you wanted MacGyver alive.
I have to assume MacGyver told Thornton about our plan. I
No
can use
way.
MacGyver to
Does
get
it get to
Thornton.
50?
MacGyver? MacGyver?
31, 32.
MacGyver.
What do you think's happened to MacGyver? MacGyver said something about a killing.
All-time high.
How is this possible? It's past it now. It's 38.
You don't use guns, MacGyver. MacGyver, we're coming! Go, MacGyver.
Thanks, MacGyver!
Well, that's something I won't forget.
MacGyver, look! Watch this!
There you
Look at those mullets.
40.
Oh my God! Look at them.
Freaking MacGyvers. 44.
There's like a collected 1 foot of mullet. If you tape them together as one mullet, that's amazing.
Let me just say, when I watched it, I'm watching the episode, and you get a third of the way through the episode, and I've got on my phone, I've got them at 10 or 12. And then all of a sudden, this phone madness picks up. And then the Lancer guy starts saying it a ton of times. And then what's-her-name finds out that his name is MacGyver. And then all those phone times, but I ended the night with 46. When I did this video, I got 44. It will take another watching through. I think I didn't get the video right. So it's either 44, 45, or 46 times. Blows the previous record of 36 out of the water. Beats Quail's 40. We've got a new record holder. It's DOA MacGyver. It's only perfect that MacGyver is in the name of the episode.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is serendipity. This is the kind of thing that takes an episode from the season and like makes it a standout.
Yeah.
Totally goofy premise.
Yeah.
Amnesia story arc. Mac pulls a gun on Pete. and most MacGyvers. That's what episode of the years are made of, baby.
It's crazy that's what that came to there. That's unbelievable.
How about the most make funnable moment? What was the silliest part of this episode?
Throwing the bomb under the...
Oh, yeah, that was a weird choice, throwing the bomb underneath
Yeah.
What if it blows up and both those people die? That's very anti-MacGyver.
I need to write this down. Max failed smoke gas is pretty funny. He gets amnesia out of it and almost kills Pete. That's... It all goes back to the smoke gas failing. So that's the question. Does it MacGyver or not? Like, it almost killed Pete, this failed smoke gas.
I guess I'm going to go with Jason's little stunt at the end on the bike.
You really got a problem with this bike trick at the end, huh? After all these wild, remember about 2-3 months ago I said, guys, we're going to have a really strong run here. We're going to have this Partners episode with Bo. We're going to have Claire on. We've got all this stuff. And I thought we were going to finally be able to take a breath with this episode. I thought, okay, we got 2 more. They're mailing it in. I see the clips. I see their amnesia. I'm like, turns out this is a freaking special episode to DOA MacGyver. I'm not going to forget this one. 46 or 45 or 44 mentions of MacGyver and pretty good episode.
Jason, played
words,
by
guys?
Ryan Rushton, by the way. Born October 31st, 1975, Provo, Utah.
Well, it's been a fun one, guys. We've got one more episode this season. This has been a fun season for sure, but we got one more. Any final words for this episode?
Welcome to episode of the season conversation.
I don't know. You've given higher marks this season. So you're just here's a phrase that I've always remembered that you coined way back when, 15 years ago. Prisoner of the moment. I like that one.
Yeah, this is total prisoner of the moment.
You're a prisoner of the moment because you've given some higher ratings.
I'm stuck in a hype cycle. That's what it is. You got a hype and then you got to double down.
You gave 9.
We'll see.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was Jeff. I mean, that was Mike. You gave Out in the Cold an 8.
Out in the Cold was good. It's the one where Pete breaks his legs a bunch of times. See? It's memorable.
You gave Jack of Lies an 8, and you gave The Human Factor an 8. You've given a few 8s this year, but that's fine.
What's The Human Factor?
That's the very first episode of the season with the Daleks.
I'm getting loose with my grading. I need to tighten it down.
Decent episode. I know I was a little rough on the rating, but it was a decent episode overall. I'm content.
I'm glad to not be the low man for once. So, but thank you guys. It's been another great show, and we thank you out there so much for listening. And we're going to thank our Patreon patrons right now, like Mia in Australia, who reminds us about the importance of being an organ donor and checking in on friends and family to make sure they're doing okay. Thanks to Bo in Florida, who reminds us that making people smile has a real-world impact. Thank you to Claire in New Jersey. Hey, why can MacGyver defuse bombs with paper clips, but he can't keep a girlfriend alive longer than 2 episodes? Go to deadfictionalgirlfriendsreport.com for the answer to that and more. Thank you to Caesar from Parts Unknown. Caesar, we don't know where you're at yet. We're waiting to hear back from him, but he reminds us that the power of MacGyver even cuts through language and age barriers as he grew up watching Mac in Spanish with his grandmother. Thanks to Christian in Norway, who lets us know he's a big fan of Stabæk football and Oss beer. Okay? Stabæk football and Oss beer. Check those out. And Matt Mortensen, welcome to the family. Matt from Parts Unknown. You texted Mike while he was bowling. We love you for it. And I'm sure you're a very nice guy. We look forward to getting to know you. And we're always hunting for new friends, people. So say hi to us on the socials. Email us at makingfunofmacgyver@gmail.com. Call us on the hotline at 904-419-3310. Or if you want to throw something in the tip jar and get the perks that come with it, it's patreon.com/makingfunofmacgyver. But above all else, keep coming back because we are going to keep making fun of MacGyver. So for Mike and Jeff, I'm Sam. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Well, he's kind of tall, a little over 6 feet. He's got brown hair, long and back, brown eyes. He's a nice guy.